Okay, let's address what happens when you get a lead sheet in from your VA or you're doing calls on your own. This is going to happen to you, and you find out there's a tenant in the house. I'm going to assume for the sake of today's discussion that this tenant is in a single family, because if it's a two-family, it's a great exit, but it's a different exit. And if it's a 4-unit or above, it's a totally different exit, because you're talking about a multi-unit, which is now based all on numbers, which is all about net operating income, which has nothing to do with comps, and a whole different deal. So let's address just single families, okay? It's not much different, with a couple twists and nuances for you. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to get the lead sheet in from your VA, or if you called it. You're going to look at the same way you always would. Do you think this is a sandwich? Is it subject to? Is it debt-free? So is it a owner financing? For example, we took one in with a tenant in it that we started out as a sandwich with the tenant in place. Later on down the road, you may have seen it in a video already, we converted that to a subject to. Really increasing the profitability on it. It's like a payday 4 that you probably learned about already, but it was in my IRA, so even better. Let's talk just generic deal. You're going to set up the viewing like you always would. That's number one. You're going to tell the seller your exact steps, because their question to you usually is, can you do this? I have a tenant in place. And your answer is, well, we can sometimes inherit the tenant. I've got to go ahead and do my homework. So here's how it starts. I want to view your home with you, and I want your tenant to be there. Now, they don't have to be there. In fact, better if they're not. When I went to visit this home that I just referenced, the tenant was there, which I wanted, which I'll talk about in a minute, and the seller was not there, which I wanted. So I could just feel free to ask the tenant questions and pick their brain. Whether they're disgruntled or not, you're going to get some good info. Now, why do you want the tenant there when you do your viewing? Because you want to see, are they keeping this place up? What's their personality? Are you going to want to deal with them for the next whatever? In our case, this tenant was going to be in place for about, I think it was 2 more years. So we said to the owner, I want to not interview, but I want to see your tenant. I want to be there and interact with them. After that, I'll give you a call and I'll let you know if either A, I'm going to take it over now and live with the short cash flow. There wasn't much cash flow net on the payday 2. And then I want to have my term start. I tried to get 36 months, but I got 24. Have my 24 months start when your tenant leaves, or whenever I'm able to convert them. Because what we can do is a few things here. If you like the tenant, you can convert them now to your rent-to-own program by simply putting them through the same process you would every other buyer, Paul Ritter, next step form, buyer meeting, the whole bit, and then you convert them, and then your term starts. So you write in the contract, my term of X, hopefully 36 months or more, starts when I either convert your tenant to my buyer, or when their lease ends because I couldn't convert them, and now I fill it with my own buyer, and therefore my term starts then. Why is that cool? Because even if the tenant stinks, as long as they're paying and you don't want them there and they can't qualify for your buyer program, think about it. Towards the end of their lease, say 90 days or so, you get to start marketing the home. So that's a cool option too. This whole thing works if you do it right. Now, what if you go there, let's play the other end of this. What if you go to the home and it's beat up, but just cosmetically because of the tenant, and you know as soon as that tenant leaves, you'd be okay. Just wait it out. In my case, I would have said, look, you got about, I think you had 18 months left or so in the lease. You got about 18 months left. Give me a call when it's about 14 months. I'll start my marketing for my buyer. You deal with it till then. And then I will fill it and we'll do a deal, a sandwich deal. Now, the risk you run there is he or she changes his mind, right? Life changes, they sell it, something happens, you don't know. On a positive note, what could change? Well, the tenant could default and leave earlier. You know, so all these things could happen. But if you like them, go forward with it. Try to convert them, and if not, convert them later and or put a buyer in it. Okay, so don't be intimidated by it is the bottom line. Now, if you're in the associate program and you're doing deals with us and you get one of these leads over, just send it to us. We're going to rehearse it with you. We're going to go over it with you. And for some of you, we're even going to, depending on what level you're at, we're going to call the seller for you and do everything I just told you for you and tape it for you if it's in a state where we have single party consent, and send it to you so you have no issues at all and you get to learn from it. Or we're going to talk to them together, or you're going to call them depending on what stage you're at with our direction, and then send it to us in an audio. So either way, you miss the boat by a long shot if you're unclear on this, if you don't just get us involved. Let's take it to the next level. If you happen to be an immersion member or decide to later, or a high six member, we're going to be in your marketplace. So you and I lock arms, we go to that property, we do everything I just told you, but we're doing it together. Or my son-in-law or someone from our team is going to do it with you. Another option, you're at one of the associate levels, think of this, and you come here for a visit, and you're going to not only spend the whole day in the office with us, but get on the road with my son-in-law or whoever our sales specialist is at the time, and actually see how we interact with sellers there too. So those are just kind of tidbits on the side, but don't let this rental thing intimidate you. They can be some great deals. As in every deal, all these deals are good as long as you know how to navigate and become that master transactioneer that I talk about nonstop in the book, Real Estate on Your Terms. I mean, that's what it's all about. It's about becoming that transaction engineer, meaning a deal comes in, where do I put it? Deal comes in, where do I put it? A deal's going along, it changes. How do I pivot? What do I do? It's all about becoming that master transaction engineer. You'll get super good at it by locking arms with us and doing it together. See you in the next video. Hey, I really appreciate you watching these Q&A videos. I hope you find them helpful. I want to help you even further though. I want you to personally go ahead and leave your most burning 1, 2, or 3 questions on the comment section below. Go ahead and do that now. I'll go ahead and answer your questions live on a video. I promise you. We'll get that done for you in the next few months. Could be days, but watch for it and we'll address your questions. And by the way, how would you like it if you could ask those live questions every single week to one of our team members privately? How would you like to, in addition to that, ask our entire group of associates those live questions every single week? You can do that. Just become an associate by applying on the link below. We'll see if it's a fit for you. We'll see if your area is still open, and perhaps we can be working one-on-one together. That would be pretty cool. Be sure to subscribe below as well so you don't miss any of these Q&A videos. Doesn't take many, guys. Remember the old saying, small hinges open big doors. One idea, one deal this year can be an absolute game changer for you if you apply below now, and we'll have that live conversation. Oh, by the way, don't forget to subscribe below. You're going to want to not miss any of these videos. Go ahead and subscribe so you don't do that, and I look forward to seeing you on future videos if you want to keep on these Q&As.